Hey guys, it's Kelsey and I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and today we are starting the Christmas layouts. I am so excited, which is weird because I've mentioned many times I do not enjoy typically doing Christmas layouts. And I've discovered through this month of starting to do Christmas layouts that it's because I wasn't doing it during Christmas time. Because usually, I mentioned this before, because I'm a chronological scrapbooker, by the time I get to Christmas, it's usually summer, and you're just not in that Christmas, you know, mindset. And so now that it's actually December leading up to Christmas and I'm playing with Christmas things, I actually had a ton of fun. So this is a whole bunch of Felicity Jane Christmas stuff that I got during their Black Friday sale from last year. Hoarded it for an entire year so I could use it for Christmas. So I could actually scrapbook last year's Christmas during December for you guys. So if you want to know what any of this stuff is, at the end of my layout share from last month, I did kind of go over what I was going to be using this month, since there's not a how to kill a kit with style for December. So if you're curious about where any of this is from, that's your best bet, because I mixed all this stuff together and now I don't know which is from where. I know some is from Joy, some is from Holly, some is from Oh Dear. So if you're curious, but I decided to start out with this wood grain paper and the red solid. I really liked the impact that this rich red had as a thin frame around this very simple, beautiful wood grain. So that's what I started with, and then I wanted to mat these two photos in red as well, but me being the stingy scrapbooker that I am, did not want to use more of the red paper than I already had so I could use it for future Christmas pages. So I went through my stash and found a scrap piece of a red that was close enough and matted it in that as well. I know that's silly, but now I have a big chunk of the red to use for other layouts, so you'll see that later this month. But that's kind of what I decided to do. And now I'm just going through all of these beautiful die cuts I have on the left here to create a little scene. For this page, I wanted to keep the layers really simple. My first page using Felicity Jane kits usually is layer-wise very simplistic, because I can't make myself cut into multiple 12x12s. I just can't do it. That's why usually my more layery pages are towards the end of the month, when I already have scraps accumulated from doing multiple pages. But that being said, with the layers being more simple on this one, I really wanted to do a really nice ephemera cluster on this page to be the focal point. These photos are covered. These are from my work's Christmas last year, and I know they won't want their faces on YouTube, so I just went ahead and covered them. Similar to when I always do this in the close-ups, I'll take off those white scraps, but I'll just blur the photos. But hopefully you'll be able to see a clearer picture once those white scraps are removed. That's why I have those on there. But I wanted to use this little girl. I think this is Holly. I believe this is Holly. I think the other girl is Joy. And she's just so cute. She's so pretty, and I just loved her. So I'm getting her used up on this one. Right away, I wanted to layer her on this really sweet red polka dot tag, and there are also some hole reinforcers in the ephemera baggie, which you could use just as embellishment, as little circles around the page, but I did go ahead and use one as a hole reinforcement. So I went ahead and glued the black hole reinforcer on the red tag, threaded it with some black and white twine, and layered holly on top of that. And I'll just add a couple more ephemera bits to beef out that little cluster as I get going. But I do have this branding strip from this solid that I used for my frame on this page, and the branding strips on all these Felicity Jane solids are always this really nice scalloped detail, so I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut that, because again, I don't want to cut into another 12x12 for another detail, so I'm trying to use the scraps I have just from what I've used here, and I'm going to use that as a horizontal element to kind of ground my little embellishment cluster to the right of these photos. But I like that because it brings that nice rich red that's going to be around the frame into the middle of the page through these layers. But before I glue everything down, again, I'm gutting. I can't help myself. I have to save these bits that are going to be covered. You saw me in the beginning of this process video gut a huge chunk of the red frame that's going to be hidden by this wood grain. And then here I just decided to gut this wood grain from where my photos are going to be sitting. And then Nicole sent me this beautiful stencil of some snowflakes. I thought it was so pretty, and I really thought it would be a cool touch to spray some gold high swap color shine through it. And it creates a really cool effect. I wish I sprayed more. I was kind of being a weenie because I feel like I always use too much of this. Like, it looks like there's so much on there, and then I take off the stencil and you can't really see that there's snowflakes until the close-ups, because the one you can really see is on the black, and that's obviously going to be covered by the photos. But it adds a really nice gold shimmery cloud effect around all these layers, but you can't really see that they're snowflakes until the close-ups. But I think that was really fun. I want to use that stencil again and spray more so you really can see the snowflakes through the stencil. But I loved getting a chance to use that. Thank you so much, Nicole, for sending that little snowflake stencil to me. But I think that was such a little fun effect. I was anticipating on it adding gold into this layout. So that's why I decided to go ahead and use some gold highly swap color shine on the background. Because right now my ephemera bits, nothing is gold, but I see some gold elements to the side that I kind of want to pull in just to make it look a little shimmery. So I'm just continuing to beef out this cluster. I added 2 of those little black sprigs behind holly. I added this green checkered horizontal bit underneath her, and then I'll also add a little gold label in a minute once I kind of get all of this glued down. But I'm just trying to create my little horizontal bit. I love creating these little grounding moments, so especially when you're using a girl or an animal or something, I like it to look like they're actually standing on something, so they're not just floating on the page. So I think this horizontal scallop really helps add that, but it was looking a little wimpy, so I did find a green polka dot branding strip, and I'm going to add that underneath this green scallop just to beef up this horizontal section a little more. And I do like the addition of the green. I have a couple green elements in and amongst these die cuts, but I just felt like it needed to be a little bit more represented, especially because there's green in the photos as well, and so far my layout is pretty much the gray wood grain and red, so I wanted a little bit more green, so I really like how that looks. But I think that looks super cute. I love this little cluster. That's like one of my favorite things with Felicity Jane collections, is creating little embellishment clusters with their die cut packs. It's my absolute favorite. Their die cut packs are always my favorite, actually. But now I have all of those layers glued down. I'm going to go ahead and glue all of it to the frame. So I have my full 12 by 12, and then I'll need to figure out what I'm doing from there. But pretty much it's just, I need a title for sure. I don't know how much more I really do, because my main goal was to get a really nice little focal point cluster down, and I think that one with holly just does it. I think that's adorable. I don't want to distract too much from that, because that's really what I'm showcasing on this page, I guess. But here I am just going through my ephemera bits again. I think that's the gold piece I decided to pull in. I just am writing yum on it because we went to this Italian restaurant and I had this 4-cheese gnocchi and it was amazing and it was so good, and I really didn't know what I needed to write on this little label, but because there's an open spot I felt compelled to. And I already glued down the photos which had the date on the back, and I didn't feel like looking it up, so instead of writing the date I just wrote yum because we're at a restaurant and it was yummy. But yeah, so I liked that addition of the gold. I do want to make sure I add some more gold now too. But I need to figure out what the other clusters are going to be first. So I thought about using these 2 little holly bits. I think those are really cute. But I didn't glue them down yet just because it seems too bare, and I know I want a title, so I figured I'd throw my title on here first and then just see how it looks. But I'm just calling it SCVH, Xmas. SCVH is the initials of our animal hospital, so I'll know that that's our work crew. And that's the title. And I, again, liked the addition of the gold. And now I'm trying to figure out more ephemera bits. You can see to the left there's a bunch of little gold stars. And I'm thinking because I used that gold foiled Yum label next to Holly, I might pull those in. But I'm still just not sure. I'm trying to figure out at least one more cluster. It doesn't need to be as, layered or as much as the one with Holly, but I wanted something to balance her and not that be the only thing on the page. So I am adding this little Merry and Bright next to her just to fill out that area a little bit. I think that looks really nice. And again, it's gold foiling, so it pulls that gold out a little more. And I popped that up on some foam. Once I did that, I decided I really wanted more of a cluster in the upper right hand corner. Nothing big, but something to draw your eye. And what I noticed was the Holly is from, I think, a different collection. I think that's from the Joy collection. Maybe it's all from the same one. But either way, I saw this ephemera bit that was this pine cone design, and that is the same design that's in the wreath that Holly is holding, so I feel like that one worked a lot better. I think it looks really cute up there in the corner, so I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm saving the holly leaves for a future layout, but I'm just creating a tiny little cluster up here with a scrap of this red scallop. And I'm going to pop that little pine cone cluster up on some foam. But I think that looks so cute, and I think it balances the little holly cluster perfectly. So once I get that glued down, I think I go in and I add the little gold stars just to tie it all in together. But this page definitely is more about the ephemera bits than layers, for sure. The layering is very, very simple. But I love how it looks. I don't know if I get stuck here for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put the gold stars on, but it does still seem empty where the title is. I still want something else up there. I really like how these pine cones balance the holly thing, but there's just, it's still empty where the title is. So I do want to add something, but I'm not quite sure what. So I'm going to go ahead and get these stars glued down. And they look so cute when I finally get them on. I'm just clustering 3 down here by the Merry and Bright, and then I'll do the other 2 up by the pine cone. I think that also helps tie those in together. So there's that. And then I find this little Fa La La gold foiled piece, and it fits up there perfect. I really didn't need it as far as the title, but it fit up there perfect, and again pulled in more of that gold foil. So I'm popping that up on some foam as well. It creates a really nice visual triangle with the dimension because Holly is popped up on some foam, the pine cones are popped up on some foam, and now this Fa La La is as well. And I think that really helps finish off the page and create that visual triangle, even though it's not so much an element as an addition to the title. But here are the close-ups here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I think I have 4 Christmas pages this month, so this is the first one. Stay tuned for the other ones, but thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.